Chairman?
Yes, please.
I'm used to saying good morning, but good afternoon. Welcome to the first evening session?
Second.
The second evening session of the new year? First of the new year?
First of the new
First
year,
of the new
second
year.
ever.
Of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. Proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. Mr. Chairman, there being no preliminary matters, I call the very first case on the PM docket. Gotham Heptizi and Robel Cadane Swy Lily LLC, trading as Sun M Liquors, 2700 West North Avenue. This is a Class A, a beer, wine, and liquor license, and application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicants.
Good evening.
Sorry, I've had the flu, and today's my first day back.
Stay back there. Gentlemen, would you raise your right hands, please?
You swear or affirm
Thanks,
the
Pete.
testimonies that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Would you each lean into the microphone? You can put your hands down and say your name and spell it, please.
Goitlm. Last name is H-A-B-T-E-Z-H-I.
Thank you.
Robel, R-O-B-E-L, K-I-D-A-N-E, Kidane.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if I may proceed by way of a proffer, this is an application for transfer of ownership only and not location of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license at 2700 West North Avenue. The primary applicant is Mr. Hubdeski, to my immediate right. He has prior experience owning his own place. In fact, the proceeds for the purchase of this operation was from the sale of a prior business that he had. And
Was that in Baltimore?
No, that was in
Washington,
in
D.C.?
Washington, D.C. And in fact, the monies are in my escrow account, awaiting for this hearing to finalize settlement.
And how long did you have that place, sir?
Which one?
The Washington?
More than 4 years.
4 years? Okay.
Okay. And Mr. Hubdeski has his alcohol awareness certificate already. From his prior business, he understands his obligations under the liquor laws. He knows that he should not sell to a card to anybody that looks 30 or under, and you know your closing hours
Yep.
and not to sell to minors and not to stay open too late and not to let anybody do anything illegal in your premises. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Habetzi, am I saying your name correctly?
Yep. Say it right.
How many people will be employed at your store?
I do have one.
One other?
Yep.
Okay, and who would that be?
A friend of mine,
Okay, and is that a man or a woman?
a man.
Okay, and has he gotten the training?
Not yet.
But he will be getting trained? Okay. Okay.
And you'll be open 6 days a week,
6 days a week.
and
yes.
you're planning on being the full-time operator. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is your family here yet?
Not yet.
Okay, where's your family?
In Uganda?
In Uganda? And you've applied for your wife, and you just had a baby?
Yep.
And
Congratulations.
Going to come soon?
Thank you. Yes.
And you're planning to live close by to this premises?
Close by. Yeah.
Do you have an apartment yet?
Not yet. I'm going to move by next week.
Okay. And you'll be close by to the premises?
Yes, sir.
And your family's going to move in with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Kadani, you're the Baltimore City resident applicant on this license?
Yes, sir.
And you understand your obligations as a licensee, not to allow any illegalities on the premises and not to sell to minors?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've been friends with Mr. Hubdeski for a while, and you're going to drop by on the premises and make sure everything's going okay, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now the prior licensee had at least 2 times, in 14 and back in 09, had problems for sales to minors. You're aware of that?
Yes.
And so you're going to have to be very vigilant about that. I don't know about the area, whether that's a particular problem there, but it sounds like that's how they got themselves in trouble. So do the commissioners have questions?
Was this location impacted by the uprising last April, May? Are you aware of that
Did
happening
they have
in Baltimore?
damage?
Not yet. Nothing happened.
No damage?
No damage.
Okay, have you gotten to know any of the people that live near the location?
Oh, yeah, I do have some.
You do know some of them?
Yeah.
And how are you being received?
Well, I've been here in Baltimore. I used to be a cab driver, so I'm familiar with this area, and I don't so far have any problem.
Okay, and so are there residences or people that live near 2700 West North Avenue?
Yes,
Have you gotten to know any of those people?
I do some.
Some. And are you're working there now, right?
Yes,
All right, and no problems so far?
no problem.
All right. Okay, those are all the questions that I have.
Thank you.
In your, with respect to your establishment in Washington DC, did you ever have any violations or issues?
No,
No, okay. And just so I understand, you are planning to move fairly soon to the area, is that correct? I think that's important,
yes.
okay. And you, how soon? And it sounds like you got a lot, a baby, DC.
Well, very soon, like 1 week. I already did the, what do you call this, address change. I'm going to move. I'm just looking
The question is there an actual address that you signed a lease for already?
for the list for the, no, I didn't get the exact address yet, but I'm moving. I'm hoping I will get someone friends, and then I'll move very soon.
Yeah, I think that's important, obviously, because, you know, you're a 99% owner of this, and, you know, if you're in the DC area, it's quite a bit of a distance to be at this location when there's a two individuals running the store, and you're one of them. So I just want, you know, that,
Yeah, I'm going to move here.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Nothing further.
Okay.
I have one, you mentioned that there's another person who's going to be helping run the shop. Who is that? What is that person's name?
Oh, his name is Eyob Sahay, and he's a friend of mine. He's going to be.
Is he already working there?
I have to train him. He's not
Oh, he's-
exactly.
He hasn't started yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you related to this person?
Well, we're friends. We know him for a
That's a
while.
good relationship.
Both from Eritrea?
Yes.
Both are from you're-
Eritrea.
I thought you were from Uganda.
His
My
family's
wife
in
is in Uganda.
Your wife is in Uganda, but
Yeah.
you're Eritrea.
I'm Eritrean.
Okay.
Is she a refugee?
No, she's not. Just
She
just live there.
in Uganda right now.
Uganda.
Okay.
But she's on her way, sort of,
Yep.
in time. Okay.
So
all right.
boy or girl?
Oh boy.
And what's his name?
Will they?
Good.
It's a family names.
Okay. Commissioners have further
Congratulations.
questions? Okay.
No.
On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from counsel, and the testimony of the applicant, I would move to approve the transfer.
I would vote to approve.
I concur. Best of luck.
Thank you very
luck.
much.
Okay, may I ask a question, though, that has nothing to, now that you've been approved? We've had a number of license applicants that are from Eritrea, and I was just curious why that might be, or if you know.
Maybe the beautiful city for immigrants. So.
It's a beautiful city for immigrants.
Yeah.
We just assume there's a huge sign in the airport in Eritrea that says, "Come to Baltimore."
For a liquor license.
In fact, we have a military base. We used to have military base area, so we know Baltimore. We have a shipment from Baltimore to Red Sea. So
Oh, really?
everybody's familiar with Baltimore.
Oh, interesting.
Military base, I didn't
Okay.
realize that. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Just to
Thank
add
you.
to that, going back to the,
Are there any exhibits, because I'd like to go off the record?
I'm sorry,
No exhibits, thank you.
off the record. Mr. Geber Georges from A1 Liquors on 620 North Utah. He's been my client since the 90s, and he was like the first Eritrean that came
Really?
to this area, and they like it here.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad that we're a good, happy city for anybody that wants to come from another country.
Half the block, correct?
Now he owns half the block. Very successful.
And he's a good neighbor, right? He's a good businessman.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Dale Whitehead, Harold Resnick, and Michael Dick, Engineering Society of Baltimore, Inc., trading as Engineers Club, 7-11 West Mount Vernon Place. This is a Class C beer, wine, and liquor license. A request to add live entertainment. Please come forward.
Would you state your name, sir, please?
My name is Dale A. Whitehead.
Okay, and would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Whitehead, the name Engineers Club showed up on my law firm's conflict sheet. Do you know whether the club's ever been represented by the law firm Whiteford, Taylor, and Preston?
I do not.
Okay, you're not aware of it. Would you
I'm
have,
not aware of it.
would
I've
you
been
have
there
any concern
14
with?
years.
Would you have any concern with me ruling in this case?
No,
Okay, thank you.
I don't think so.
So,
Need to disclose like all the times that we've been there.
I mean, I think
for
everyone in
parties
Baltimore has
and-
been there, yes.
Everyone's been there, I think.
I got married there, but it didn't work out, so.
Oh, no!
Are you comfortable with me ruling?
Can I say I also have counsel on the way? He's trying to get through the traffic.
Okay, who's
I
your
got-
lawyer?
Barry Casanova.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
can't wait to hear from him.
well, so you want to request, to add live entertainment, is that correct?
Yes.
So tell us about that,
Well,
what the plans are.
Okay, like I said, I've been at the club for 14 years as the executive director. And it's been pretty much the same process ever since I arrived there in 2003, where I was put on the liquor license, and we put 2 presidents of the club on the liquor license as the additional signers. One of them is a resident of Baltimore City, and we've been the same signers ever since. And we go through the annual renewal process where we get the form, we fill it out, we send it in with the money, and then the license comes back. Well, every time we fill out the form, we always check the box that says live music, yes. Like that. And according to Michelle Richter, who is our next door neighbor and also the president of the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association, somehow the zoning and the liquor licensing entities were able to talk to each other last year for the first time, and the conflict came up on the radar that we weren't ever zoned for live music, although we've had live music since 1961.
Mirabile dictu.
So we were hoping it was a bookkeeping error, but we were more than willing to go through whatever process needs to be done to rectify the error. So that's why we're here.
Okay, so you've been having live entertainment with the belief that you were authorized to do it.
Absolutely.
And what's the nature of the live entertainment?
Well, most of it is either wedding
for
music.
weddings.
Wedding music. We also, as we have access to the public for our mansion because it's a historic building, we have an endowment fund that runs that public access, that runs in tandem with the private club, which is members only and their guests. We have an artist in residence series that has 5 different performance groups. Plus, we acquired a historic pipe organ from the State Theater about 4 years ago. So we have all these musical programs and performances under the auspices of our endowment fund and our artists in residence. So that's a big part of our public access mission for the endowment
Is this
fund.
your lawyer behind you?
That's him.
Please come on up. We've been
Take him
cutting
if
your
you wanna take
fee
his car.
by having your client do all the work.
I was his chauffeur today, that's about
He
it.
picked me up.
Oh, that was nice.
So, yeah, and we do also have DJs. All the music's within the building. You've all been to the building. You know what kind of a structure it is. It isn't like you can really even hear any music outside the building when it's going on inside. We haven't had any complaints about music going outside.
In fact, in our record, we don't have any oppositions. We do have a letter of support from Councilman Costello.
Yes, I do have that, and also several other letters of support, and also a memorandum of understanding between the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association and the Engineering Society that was just executed today.
Right, would you give those to Mrs. Russell, please?
Yes.
And is the understanding that whatever terms you've agreed to there will be conditions of your license?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No.
Let me answer something.
You want to identify yourself for the record, sir?
Yeah, Barry Casanova, I'm an attorney practicing in Maryland for about 35 years now. My office is out at Ellicott City at 3701 Courthouse Drive, and I'm past president of the Engineers Club as well as currently on their board of directors.
Okay, good afternoon or good evening.
I guess I do have a question. I just saw a note that a call was made saying, make sure that we have something from zoning showing that you've actually applied for the zoning to allow for live entertainment. Has that happened?
Well, I set aside one whole day to do nothing but try to get through this process. I made several phone calls and was bounced around quite a bit, and finally I ended up with a person from zoning who explained to me that if I called a gentleman named Mr. Veal, he would make the arrangement for us to have whatever needed to be done. I tried contacting Mr. Veal over a period of 10 months and never received a call back. I left a lot of messages. And so I just don't know where that process is, actually.
It appears Mr. Akris
Yeah,
might
why-
be able to.
Go ahead.
You raise your right hand, please.
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. My name is Thomas Akris. I'm the Deputy Executive Secretary for the Liquor Board of Baltimore City. And to address the concern of the board in regards to the zoning, when the application was first submitted, I made a request to Mr. Veal from the Department of Housing and Community Development in regards to the zoning. He had sent me an email stating the use of the property, live entertainment was allowed at the property. The use had been going on since, I believe, the 1960s, as per Mr. Veal's email.
Probably before that, because I'm sure the Bhumi Temple that was there during the 40s was used by music.
Yeah, but
I did not know about the Bhumi Temple.
Footnote, I want to talk about the boomies when we're done, but go back.
But because of the long-term use, because of the way the area was zoned, the live entertainment was grandfathered in as per Mr. Veal, and that was the only reason why this was actually docketed and set forth before the board. Because once we received that information and confirmation from Mr. Veal, that's when we docketed the case.
So zoning's not an issue.
Zoning is not an issue.
Thank you.
thank you very much. It's good to know that.
Okay. It's good to know. I wish that you knew that, so you probably had a little bit of stress about that, because
Yeah,
they
it was-
didn't get
it
back
was
to
just
you.
a little worrisome, but I'm glad to know that everything turned out all right. I mean, that's good.
Mr. Akers, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, is there, can we make sure that something is written for the file to include with respect to this live entertainment from Mr. Veal?
I believe the.
'Cause I didn't see it in our file. That was a question I had.
I
and
have to take a look at the file.
I don't
If
want,
May I approach?
It should be an email confirming that, Mr. Commissioner.
I just want to make sure that for your purposes, it's in the file so that
Thank you.
down the road, it's,
I'd even proffer that Mrs. Garrett probably had live entertainment, and that goes back to the 1870s.
So,
Pardon?
oh, go ahead.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'm just going to be offering this email. This is a copy of the email correspondence between Mr. Veal and myself, and it talks about the zoning,
It's grand.
Okay.
and it verifies that live entertainment can be used at this.
And this is dated November 30, 2016. It'll be received in evidence?
May I be
Okay.
excused?
Yes, thanks.
Thank
Anything further, sir?
No, thank you
Commissioners,
for your
anything
time.
further?
No, no.
Okay. Thank you, sir. On the basis of the application, your testimony today, and Mr. Akris's additions, I would vote to approve the addition of the live entertainment license.
I vote to approve.
I concur.
Enjoy.
Dance your
So-
socks off.
You
Yes.
Dance your socks
What
off.
about the Bhumi Temple? Did you say that? you-
He's going to read the,
Say this first before we start on anything else. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support, Councilman Eric Costello, 11th District, dated 2/18/17. Licensee Exhibit 1, 9 letters of support. Licensee Exhibit 2, MOU between licensees and Mount Vernon Belvedere Association, dated March 16, 2017. Exhibit 3, zoning email, dated November 30th, 2016. Thank you.
And just before we go off the record, Mr. Whitehead, this MOU, to the extent that there are restrictions, they will be, oh,
I clicked it and it just didn't react very quick for me, so.
okay, are we on now? Mr. Whitehead, to the extent that there are restrictions imposed by the MOU, they're going to be our restrictions on your live entertainment license. You understand that, sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
so does the organization still exist, Boomi?
Yeah.
Shriners.
Yeah, they're out by the Beltway.
Well, no, actually, they moved to, on North Charles Street when they left us.
But they're gone from
That's gone.
Now Loyola
Yeah.
University has that property,
Right.
so they keep moving.
You can
Keep
see them from
moving
the freeway
north.
going on 95 North just before you get towards White Marsh. They're over on the
Okay.
left. There's a huge building over there in the trees.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, they used to
It's
fascinate
a
me.
very
when-
nice building. It's huge.
But that's Baltimore County, so it's not your jurisdiction. for live
Okay,
entertainment.
worry
I
about
won't go
that.
hopping over there, knocking on their door. All right, well, thank you very much.
Alrighty.
Yep.
I guess
Thanks,
I can
Lon.
drive him back up to the club.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Bryson?
Mr. Chairman, the very final case on the PM docket, John Reusing, Bad Decisions, Inc., trading as Bad Decisions, 1928 Fleet Street. This is a Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor license. A request for a hardship extension. Please come forward.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, this is where Mr. Previs was. I'm going to be careful. I
Okay.
can't afford to get sick.
I just want to identify yourself for the record.
Thank
please.
you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of Mr. John Reusing, licensee.
And would you raise your right hand, sir, please?
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Mr. Fogelman, Mr. Reusing's name showed up on my conflict sheet. Is that a problem? Here, have you ever been represented by White for Taylor Preston?
I don't think so. Maybe my father, same name.
Okay. Any objection to me proceeding?
No.
Okay. So you have written us a letter dated February 16th.
Right, right. So it's been a lot of good news so far. I don't want to bring it down, but this is a hardship extension request. And quite frankly, to me, it's a kind of a personal one, and it's a bit tragic. Mr. Reusing ran a fantastic bar called Bad Decisions at 1928 Fleet Street for years. He was written about in the Washington Post, the New York Times. Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake used to come in for happy hour. He was known for doing all things bacon, bacon in cocktails, bacon 20 ways. John he's a great thinker. He's got a great mind. He's good social media. And he made a decision to purchase the Ostrowski's small sausage factory next
now
door.
we're going to get a lecture from Mr. Kadensky about the history of
That's right.
the sausages.
After the unrest that occurred, business went downhill for Ostrowski's. His customer base, his most loyal customer base, were elderly Polish Americans who now lived in the county, who would come on Friday and they would line the block to get in there. He had the most amazing krusziki, which is these angel wings, really some neat Polish specialties. After the uprising, people stopped coming, even on Friday afternoons, and he was forced to sell that at a loss. In the meantime, the building at 1928 Fleet Street was in pretty bad disrepair, and Mr. Reusing attempted, with no success, many times to get the landlord to give him some kind of credit to fix the place up, but she was not interested. So Mr. Reusing came to me and he said, I need to find somewhere else to go because this is not good. And I said, well, I have a client down the street at Bond and Alisana who I know is looking to sell his bar. And so I introduced them, and Mr. Reusing did, in fact, move his business, Bad Decisions, at the end of August 2016 to the new location on Bond, which was formerly known as the Get Down. It was across from One-Eyed Mike's. During that time, Mr. Reusing had an offer for his liquor license, the liquor license at 1928 Fleet Street. And it was his intention, and through his contract, that he was going to sell that license, get off that license, and then go onto the license and apply for a transfer of the BD7 license at the new location. Unfortunately, the potential buyer breached the contract and never obviously did purchase the license, and that caused even more hardships for Mr. Reusing because he went and doubled his rent effectively. But he's not going to go and double his cocktail prices overnight. What he had hoped to do was the money from the license, the plan was the money from the sale of this license that we're in front of you for now was going to go in to build a kitchen, $50,000 or more, to build a kitchen in the new Get Down. And when that money didn't come, he was unable to build a kitchen, and he is now out of business. And it's sad, both locations. And it's sad because, as I say, this is a business that is tough, and you can do all the right things and still end up with nothing. And so, in my opinion, this is a hardship. And
He's still trying to sell the license
he
and try to
is.
get back in business?
In like 180 days. No, he has decided that he is out of the business, that he will be selling to a private buyer and will be going into a different industry for now. So.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
I just got a little lost. What business was moved? in August 2016.
At the end of August 2016, he moved the bar, not the license, but he moved the bar, Bad Decisions, from 1928 Fleet Street to, I don't remember the exact, 701 South Bond?
701.
701 South Bond.
How did that happen?
There is an existing liquor license at 701 South Bond, it was trading as the Get Down. And as I mentioned, the plan was that as soon as John got off of this license, he would then come in and transfer the ownership of that license into his name. That license is currently owned by another individual.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So did 1928 Fleet Street stop operating?
Yes.
And then he just moved his business and his clients and,
Right, into another location with its own liquor license
and its own liquor licensee?
and its own liquor licensee.
And it's still called the Get Down?
No, well, I mean, he put up a sign that said Bad Decisions.
How did that happen? I mean, you don't need approval from the liquor board to do that?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, again, you can't be on two liquor licenses at the same time. So the tenant or the landlord at 701 South Bond, he notified the community that this was happening, that Bad Decisions was going to be coming in to this location. And the understanding was that as soon as he sold this, then he was going to be the licensee at 701 South Bond.
So I guess maybe we'll figure this out later, but maybe it would be helpful to figure it out now. So Get Down is now Bad Decisions.
Well, right, but now it's nothing. It's empty. It's vacant.
Who has that I'm sorry, Commissioner Moore. Who owns that license?
That license, I believe, is owned by Brian J. Burkert. I don't have that in front of me.
Get Down, when did all the businesses stop?
Well, his business at 1928 Fleet Street stopped at the end of August 2016. His business at 701 South Bond stopped at the end of February.
Mid-February.
Mid-February.
This year?
Yes.
Commissioner, if I may.
Sure.
So Mr. Reusing was operating under the license, under the different
Correct.
current license holder at 701 South Bond Street.
Correct.
He never filed an application to transfer ownership
Correct.
of the existing license, but he did in fact change the trade name to Bad Decisions.
He put a sign up.
Put a sign
Just
up.
put a sign up.
Right, but there was never an application filed.
No,
with the
no, and as I say, the plan was to get him on that
So
license.
was he operating under a management agreement at that time?
I believe so.
Was that approved by the board?
I don't know that.
Didn't it need to be approved by the board?
I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of their specific dealings. Mr. Burkert had something to do with the operations of that business and continues to have something to do with he continues to hold that license. And I believe he's about to sell the license to a new applicant who doesn't
He's gonna
own a liquor
sell-
license,
he's
so.
gonna sell what license?
Sell the license at 701 South Bond.
He doesn't own it.
No, Mr. Burkert, the
Oh, Mr.
landlord.
Burkert,
Yeah.
okay.
Anything further? Okay. I would, on the basis of what has been proffered to us in testimony and the letter, I would vote to approve the hardship extension.
I agree to approve it.
I concur. I'm sorry. Yeah, what you're going through.
He's a really smart guy. He's going to work on Bitcoin. He has one of the few Bitcoin machines in the city where you can go in and put your currency in and take out Bitcoin. So he's a genius.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Well, so what happened to the Ostrowski Sausage Company? Is that closed also? Okay,
That's an absolutely sad story.
yeah.
John Ostrowski, who owned it, was doing it for his son. Son was killed in a motorcycle accident. John lost the place he had down in Inner Harbor. And this one here, he just gave up. But his brother owns Ostrowski's up on Bank Street. So they're still in business.
Wow.
Now, what's the name of the bar?
We'll give it Bryce. We'll bring it.
It's coming.
bad.
Mr. Chairman, this is a continuation of a transfer application hearing from March the 9th, 2017 to determine status of license. The applicant is Jasfir Mavy and Damon Briscoe, Side Street LLC, trading as Side Street Lounge, 625-627 North Glover Street, Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor license. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanensky representing the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Kadensky. Gentlemen, will you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, and gentlemen, can you again state your names into the microphone?
David Makarovich.
Spell Makarovich, it says Briscoe on it.
Jasper Yamabi.
1 second. Mr. Makarovich, spell your last name.
Makarovich.
And the other gentleman's name, how do you spell it?
It's on
Damon Briscoe.
He's on it? Okay. All right, thank you.
Damon Briscoe.
No, it's Jasper Mavi.
Okay, and when we were here last time, the issue arose as to how long this particular establishment was in active operation. And the contention was that it ceased operations on April 30th of last year, but we didn't have evidence of that. And so we asked you to see if you could find some.
Well, it happened, I think they've had some sales tax reporting that was sent to the board of payments made through the end of April. Also, the licensee who was then on the license asked for a hardship extension in October 18th of 2016. And I was able to find, and the board verified it was received for a hardship extension. Subsequently thereafter, Mr. Makarovich's mother owned the property, and he collected rents. He verified that he was collecting rent up through September of 2016, although he reduced it because the gentleman who was in there thought he had to transfer to Mr. Mavi, and Mr. Mavi didn't complete it within 180 days, so everything sort of came together. Mr. Makarovich was able to get a hold of Mr. Mickens, who was the licensee, and get an affidavit from him, and I'll submit this saying basically that he was open through April of 2016, and he requested the hardship extension, which hasn't been put in for a hearing yet.
Okay. May we see that?
Do you want to mark it, or?
I'll mark it.
Okay.
So the sales tax information shows that they were purchasing inventory through April?
April through April, the last sales tax report they filed was April through April of 2016. They were open just basically on some couple weekends and stuff to keep the license alive, pending the transfer to Mr. Mavi.
Okay.
Transfer didn't take place because he didn't get it done in 180 days. It's a consequence of which he had to ask for the hardship extension.
I understand. And then we have also for the record an affidavit from Mr. Mickens, which is dated March 15 of this year, and which indicates that he maintained the business at that location, operated through the end of April of 2016. So do the commissioners have questions on this issue?
I do have a question on the issue of when they closed. We were provided collection history document, and there's a lot of information, and I'll confess I don't completely understand it, but what it looks like to me is that they were paying some taxes on alcohol purchases, but they were overdue taxes. Am I interpreting that correctly?
This was the report. So I understand it from talking to everybody that they were basically open weekends so for people to come in. So the sales tax reports were very minimal. As you can see, it looks like in April they paid $25.60, in March $23.53, January $32.20, and so forth.
So what I need to understand is they paid $25.60 in April of 2016, but was that for sales that occurred? It couldn't be for, well, I don't know. Was that for sales that occurred in April 2016, or was that just a payment that was made for prior sales.
Normally, you pay their sales tax the 20th of the month after their April, so that would have been for April of that month paid in May, and then they renewed the license in April 30th, and we're waiting for the transfer, so as I understand it.
So just focusing on an entry for April/16, $25.60. What am I to interpret that to
That's
indicate?
the payment for April of
March?
2016.
Okay. So it's not a payment made, that's a payment that was made for sales, alcohol
Correct.
sales in April 2016.
Correct.
And clearly it's minimal because it's only $25.60 in taxes
Correct.
for sales. And you're telling me that that's for sales that occurred in April 2016.
Correct, and it's
Okay.
if you can figure it back, I used to be a math major, but I can't do it now. As you know, that sales taxes on alcohol is at 9% rather than 6%.
I'm certainly not a math major. I don't think you need to be in order to get an answer to the question as to when this location closed. And that's my only inquiry.
Well, I will indicate that the affidavit states that I was open only a few days every month in order to keep the license alive, as I had an application pending for transfer to Mr. Mavi. I used whatever current inventory I had and opened basically for my friends and neighbors and had provided sales tax figures and payments through April. So it seems like he was disposing of inventory as well as doing that. So
Right, and you really only have to be open one day, right, to keep it going.
That's what the law says.
do the commissioners have further questions on the issue of whether is satisfied that it was in operation through April?
I would just state that if in fact they closed on April 30, 2016, and then they filed for I guess they filed for hardship October 18 of 2016. They actually filed on the 171st day, so they did make a timely filing.
It was getting kind of iffy there and Mr. Mavi was, and to be in his defense, he has almost everything to finish it, but he came in like the 189th day. So that's why we're here.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Makarovich,
Yes.
what are you the landlord? Can you explain your role?
My mom owned the property, and she was the secured party on the liquor license. She passed away last August, but my brother and I were responsible for collecting the rents.
And did you ever visit the property?
Oh, yeah, I would visit to collect the rent.
When you collected the rent, so I assume you were there at some point then in April or May, right?
Yeah.
When you were there, was the establishment open and operating?
They were getting ready for that night's, I guess, business. I was usually there during the day, and nobody was there during the day. It was.
So they were getting ready. So do you have a sense of when that was, if that was May 1st or April 1st?
Oh, I can't remember the exact date.
All right. I have nothing further.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, on the basis of the evidence that's now been presented, I'm satisfied to make a finding that the institution at 625, 627 North Glover Street was operational through April. Is there a problem?
No, I'm sorry.
Through April of 2016. So if the other commissioners agree, we move on. Otherwise, I'll hear from you.
I agree. I mean, based on the affidavit that's been presented and the tax records, taking them on their face and, accepting the authenticity of both.
Okay.
We have to accept that they were open at least until April 30, 2016. I think the prior testimony was that they closed April 30, 2016.
So I agree with my colleagues. I just want to make sure I understand the question. The question in front of us, Mr. Chairman, is whether the hardship, right? Is it whether we grant the hardship extension? Is that the question that's currently before us?
Yes, please.
That would be the first. So this is two hearings in one. One, the hardship extension request to make a decision on that and grant or deny. And then the second would be to approve or disapprove of the license transfer.
Do we have to make a determination on the hardship extension?
Well, there has been a hardship extension filed.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah, I
It
mean-
was filed in a timely fashion.
And just for real clarity, I think we're making three decisions today. One is whether or not this license is viable. And that's the very first question, because that's the one we ended with. when this episode ended last week. So to be clear, I accept that this license is viable because we have the tax record that suggests and indicates that there were liquor sales in April 2016, and that's consistent with the testimony that they were open until April 30, 2016. They closed effective May 1, 2016, and did not reopen. So when they filed the hardship application, that license was still viable because it was filed on the 171st day out of the 180 that were available. So based on the affidavit, the testimony last week, and now the tax records showing sales in April 2016, I would agree that this license is viable.
Right. I think we're all in agreement about that. So then the question is, do we grant the hardship extension? Do you have any questions on that?
We haven't heard what the hardship is, though.
Hardship was to complete the transfer because that was the last asset he had. He put it in his letter that was hand-delivered to the board that would jeopardize the asset of the corporation that he had sold to Mr. Mavi that we couldn't complete.
So basically, the hardship is the inability to complete the transfer.
So he sold the asset to Mr. Mavi, and that was his last. Stopped paying rent, he had to leave, and then that's the last that he's going to get paid for to Mr. Mavi, and that's the hardship. Otherwise, he won't have asset to sell.
Okay.
Any further questions? I would grant the hardship extension.
I would grant the hardship extension.
I agree.
Okay, and the license transfer.
The board had previously approved the license transfer subject to these two questions.
I believe we did.
The two
Well, you guys did.
Right.
2/3 of the board.
Well, Commissioner Moore, to her credit, raised a very important issue that we had missed. So do you still want it to be a 2-1 decision, Commissioner Moore?
I will join in approving the transfer.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, yes, we do have exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Affidavit of Operation, Herman Meekins, dated March 15, 2017. Licensee Exhibit 1, Sales Tax Report. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, there being no hearings on March the 23rd, 2017. The board is in recess until March the 30th, 10 a.m.
Thank you. Have a nice evening, everybody.